Jaya Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe
Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Namacharya Shlaidas Thakur ki jai, Remseko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Transcendental Book Marathon ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanandi, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this is a reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 6, Text 15. Konvyasya kashtam aparo nugachin mano ratena yabhavas yogi yogamaya sprahiyat yudashina yasattaya yena krita prayatnaha konyasya kashtam aparo nugachin Mano ratena yabhavasya yogi yogamaya sprahayat yudasta yasattaya yena prayatnaha Konyasya kashtam aparo nugachin Mano radena yabhavasya yogi Yo yogamaya sprahayat yudasta Yasattayayena krita prayatnaha Ladies? Word for word. Kaha, who, nu, indeed, asya, of Lord Ṛṣabhadeva. Kashtam, the example. Aparaha, else. Anugachit, can follow. Manaha ratena, by the mind. Api, even. Abhavasya, of the unborn. Yogi, the mystic. Yaha, who? Yogamayaha, the mystic perfections of yoga. Sprihayati, desires. Udastaha, rejected by Ṛṣabhadeva. He, certainly, asatya, by the quality of being insubstantial. Yena, by whom? Ṛṣabhadeva. Krita prayatnaha, although eager to serve. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Swami Prabhupada. Who is that mystic yogi who can follow the examples of Lord Ṛṣabhadeva even with his mind? Lord Ṛṣabhadeva rejected all kinds of yogic perfection, which other yogis hanker to attain. Who is that yogi who can compare to Lord Ṛṣabhadeva? Purport. Generally, yogis desire the yogic perfections of anima, lagima, mahima, prakamya, prapti, ishitva, vashitva, and kama vasayita. Lord Ṛṣabhadeva, however, never aspired for all these material things. Such siddhis, or perfections, are presented by the illusory energy of the Lord. The real purpose of the yoga system is to achieve the favor and shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But this purpose is covered by the illusory energy of yoga maya. So-called yogis are therefore allured by the superficial material perfections of anima, lagima, prapti, and so forth. Consequently, ordinary yogis cannot compare to Lord Ṛṣabhadeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Ganatimanandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Nimilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakaramayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsta Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lilita Shiva Jakanvatamscha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Shmri Bhaktivedanta Swam Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharane Nirvashesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desh Tarane Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripasrimevacha Patitanam Bhavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Trishe Namaha Panchatatvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupaswarupakam Bhakta Havatam Bhaktakyam Bhakta Mama Shaktikam. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, this purport, the Bhāgavatam, it is described herein that Lord Ṛṣabhadeva easily surpassed all the mystic yogis because he did not hanker after the Ashtasiddhis, or the 8 perfections of yoga. So these 8 perfections are enumerated herein. You have anima, which is to become smaller than the smallest. You can become so small you can actually penetrate stone. Then there's lagima, means you become greater than the greatest. You can become bigger than a tall building. And no, that's actually mahima. You become greater than the greatest. Lagima, you can float on the air. You can actually fly around. Then there's prakamya, so you can get any desirable thing from. Like all of a sudden there's a very juicy mango in your hand or something like that, or a sweet, piece of burfi or a gold chain or something like that. Sometimes you have mystic yogis in India who actually have these perfections to some very small degree. Then you have prapti. Prapti is you can grasp an object in a very far place. It's almost kind of like television, except it's telegrab. You can just, maybe there's a, cup of lassi in Russia or something, and you just take it from there. You're sitting in India, and you've got this cup of Russian lassi. And then next perfection is the Ishitva. Ishitva here is the, it's described as being able to manipulate sub-potencies of Maya. So you have, different Maya Shaktis. You're able to manipulate the energy in very wonderful ways. It's do impossible things, maybe like make water come out of your eyes, or very. Then you have Vashitva. Vashitva is that you are unimpeded by the 3 modes of nature. So in your endeavors, so you may not need to eat, sleep, and so forth like that because of this perfection. And then Kama Vasayitva. So you, kama vasayata, you can acquire anything to the fullest extent. If you want a bank balance or something like that, or you can get it. Or just like, for example, Kardama Muni, he had these perfections, so he could, after completing his austerities and, to go into household life, he created a wonderful flying airplane, palace, great palace with all kinds of servants and maid servants and every kind of comfort, verily surpassed the opulence of even the heavenly planets. So Kardama Muni, he was a perfect yogi. He had all these perfections. So the Lord, he had no need for these things. These are just, even though these are full in him, he has no desire for them. He's complete. He's perfect in himself. And so, just like we saw Kardama Muni, because he took shelter of the Lord, he also attained the Lord's, that siddhi, or that highest perfection of detachment. He was detached from all these things, and he was fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord. So, the real purpose of the yoga system is to achieve the favor and shelter of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead. So therefore, Krishna in Gita tells Arjuna that he's the greatest yogi of all, because his mind is always fixed on the Lord's lotus feet. Yoginam api sarvesham madgate nantaratmanam shadavan majjate yomam samayuktatamo mataha. And of all yogis, those who always think of me within themselves, they're the highest. They always abide by me. They're always thinking of me. They're always doing something for me. They're always talking about me. Their thoughts are always absorbed in me. So this is the real yoga system. And Prabhupada points out here, but this purpose is covered by the illusory energy of yoga maya. So a question may arise, is that why the covering? Why not just bear it all? Why do we even have to have this covering? Why not everybody be satisfied? Well, the answer is that not everybody really likes the Lord. People have come here to this world to be bewildered, to forget the Lord. So, nonetheless, people are, in order to satisfy such persons, the Lord offers certain facilities in this world too. Just like, for example, in the jailhouse, there are also facilities. There's some recreation facility. There's some, if you're a very good prisoner, maybe you get an extra package of cigarettes every month or something like that. So some of the best prisoners in this world, they can get these, one or more of these ashtasiddhis. That's what it's for. So people, they can be very religious. They follow Dharma, they follow yoga principles and so forth, and they get some reward. So Vedas themselves, they prescribe many sacrifices, many austerities for the achievement of attaining the heavenly planets, attaining good birth. Janma karma palapradam, that you get good birth, you can have good progeny. As everybody who's married, they like to have a very wonderful son or daughter, a son who can make them proud, take care of them. in their old age, and so forth. Very dutiful sons become doctors, play a little bhajan, Hare Krishna bhajan too on the side, but really make him a very responsible, very wealthy person. Getting wealth. So many people come to the temple to pray to Krishna. They pray to Krishna for nice husband or wife, nice job, pass the exam. That's a big one. A lot of students not only study, but they also pray to Krishna. Please let me pass this exam. It's better to pray to Krishna, though, than anyone else, because everything's coming from Krishna. Then so all these facilities are offered because people want to forget about Krishna. So if someone wants to remember Krishna, then that's a very elevated thing. Someone who's actually a friend and associate of Krishna, that's a very, very elevated position. So there are certain tests that you have to go through. You have to give up all these things. You have to become detached. So people in human society are generally motivated by the mode of passion, by Rajagun. And because they're motivated by Rajagun, when they take up yoga, when they take up the Ashtanga yoga, what they're looking for is they're looking for some means to gratify their senses. So therefore, in the modern day, they're very much attracted to yoga for health benefits. So, they come, and maybe some people are attracted to spiritual. In fact, there was a yoga magazine. They did a survey, and they found that only 16% of the people coming, who took up yoga, were actually interested in the spiritual benefits at all. The majority of people, about 85%, are interested actually in yoga just for health, and because they're interested in health, they're interested for sense gratification. That's what it is. So the yoga system, the Ashtanga yoga system, the Hatha yoga system, even in Bhāgavatam it says that one can ameliorate, which means to fix certain bodily problems that you might have with some yoga, but because people take up this yoga system in the modern age in order to gratify their senses, it's not conducive for spiritual development. In other words, practically this means we should discourage it. We have so many yoga centers and everything, and of course, it's part of the culture, but generally it's not helping anybody. That's the point, because they're not taking it up to remember Krishna. They're not becoming attached. They're taking up yoga system to become attached, not to become detached. So we should discourage it. We should actually preach strongly that this yoga system, it's bogus. No, the system is not bogus, but the reasons that people are taking it up and practicing it are bogus. It's not something that we should encourage. So the so-called yogis, according to Prabhupada, are therefore allured by the superficial material perfections of anima, lagima, prapti, and so forth. Consequently, ordinary yogis cannot compare to Lord Ṛṣabhadeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, all the yoga systems, the goal of all the yoga systems is self-realization. And the first teaching of the Gita is that the that the true self is different from the material body. So the yoga systems that, when this is not taught, the yoga loses its loses whatever real benefit that you can get from it. Another important point here is about advancement in yoga. So Prabhupada talks about ordinary yogis. Ordinary yogis in this sense is meant people who are attracted by the mystic cities, by the material benefits. So Gita in the 6th chapter talks about advancement in yoga. It talks about how to practice yoga, how to become advanced in it. So a few verses from here are very interesting. This is Jitatmana prashantasya paramatma samahitaha shitoshna sukadukeshu tata manapamanaya. For one who has conquered the mind, the supersoul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. So the mind is conquered by being practically engaged in some sort of transcendental activity. So in the karma yoga system, one performs some ordinary activity according to the principles of religion. You don't perform sinful activity. That's one of the basic. We don't perform vikarma yoga, it's karma yoga. So you take the result or the karma fall that you get, say if you're working and you earn some money, then that is utilized in Krishna's service, or some transcendental activity. That's karma yoga. So if you are a doctor and you take your money, what you earned, and you give that to Krishna conscious mission or some other spiritual cause, or you may even render some service, some medical service to saintly persons. So, but at least what you get from this, what you earn, you give that to, you use that for yajna. You use that for sacrifice for Lord Vishnu's sake. That's karma yoga. So because your activities at a basic level are given for the Supreme Lord, you are elevated to the transcendental platform. And one of the signs that you're being elevated in consciousness is this detachment. This is a very, very important thing. This is what distinguishes genuine yoga, genuine practice of yoga from the, how do we say it, the ungenuine or the misleading practice of yoga. So one's developing detachment. He's not attached to happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. So a very interesting thing is that the yoga system is intimately connected with dharma. One cannot practice yoga unless one is following dharma. So the dharma, it says in the very first shloka of this chapter in Bhagavad Gita, anashrita karma palam karyam karma karotiyaha sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnir na chakriyaha. So one immediately Krishna declares that one cannot be a yogi unless he is following his prescribed duties. So prescribed duties are prescribed according to the Shastras. They are called Swadharma. So we have Sanatan Dharma and we also have Swadharma. So Sanatan Dharma these are duties to be practiced by everybody. So the Sanatana Dharma specifically means devotional service, bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma, Nivedanam. These 9 processes are directly Sanatana Dharma. So everybody should therefore worship Lord Vishnu. We should worship Lord Krishna. That is our duty. And how we do that, that is covered practically by the Shravanam, Kirtan, Vishnu, Smaranam. Now, because we practice this devotional service at various stages of advancement, and for most of us, we're in the lower stages of advancement, we are still affected somewhat by the material energy. So we're practicing bhakti. So our level of bhakti is called sadhana bhakti. In other words, we're practicing it. And a sadhaka is someone who is a candidate for liberation. This is very important to understand here. So sadhana bhakti as compared with sadhya bhakti. Sadhya bhakti, you've actually on the perfectional stage, and you're worshiping the Lord at that level. We are not sadhya bhaktas yet. We are sadhana bhaktas. This is very important to understand. So dharma is the way that this Sanatana Dharma is organized in this world. So if someone's born as a man and in a particular caste, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, then he should accept that position that he is given by the Lord. Or if one is a woman and one has that form, one has that body, then one also has another set of prescribed duties. So we follow those prescribed duties because they're given by the Lord, and in that mood, because we're saying this is my status, this is what the Lord has given me, therefore I act in that status. Now when one acts in that particular way, according to one's svadharma, then it is possible for one to begin the practice of yoga. Then only is it possible. So advancement in yoga means advancement in detachment. Why do we want to advance in detachment? Because bhakti is a haitukiya pratiyata. It is without motivation, for jnana, karma, and so forth like that. Therefore, this cultivation of detachment, or this advancement in detachment, is absolutely necessary in order to actually engage in pure devotional service. Brahma bhuta prasanatmana shochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. So it's from this Brahma bhuta stage that one can actually practice bhakti. So oftentimes we find that people, they worship Lord Vishnu, or they worship Lord Krishna, and they make, sometimes they make, big gift, like, money, cash or in kind, big things. But it's fruitive because they're trying to get something. So such worship doesn't actually qualify as bhakti, even though you give something or whatever. It's a fruitive. One has to actually be on this platform, this Brahmabhuta platform, in order to advance in bhakti, or to actually be connected with the Lord in the bhakti process. This is a very important point. So the Brahmabhuta stage, as long as one is strictly following the disciplic succession, one is situated in transcendence. It's like, it's like, even if you are not actually situated yet on the highest stages. Even if you're not yet in the Bhava Bhakti, you're still in the Sadhana Bhakti. But if you're still following strictly, then your activities are not material, but they're spiritual. You're making that determination. You're making that choice. I'm in this body, I have this body, but I'm going to utilize this for Krishna. That's a choice we're making. We might not have this ruchi, or this taste for spiritual activity, but we're going to get up in the morning, we're going to go to the morning program, I'm going to worship the Lord, I'm going to chant my japa, I'm going to follow the 4 regulative principles and so forth. You are transcendentally situated. So, this being on this platform, the difference is, it's like we have this 56K dial-up connection to the internet. It might not be like the broadband connection, like the great pure devotees. They have this, they have direct access to the Lord. They're on the stage of yoga pratyaksha, where they can actually take direction directly from the Lord. But because we're following according to Shastra, Sadhu, and Guru, we're also connected. We also know how to act. Krishna says, Ya Shastra Vidimutsrija Vartate Kamakarataha Nasa Siddham Avapnoti Nasukam Naparamgit. That you should act according to the directions of the Shastra in order to be elevated. So this is possible. So so Dharma and yoga are intimately connected. Without Dharma, one cannot be a yogi. So the equanimity of the Supreme Lord and his devotees, in other words, their disinterest in this or that material thing, this comes from their detachment. And this attachment, furthermore, comes from the attachment of the yogis to the Lord. Otherwise, such equanimity is not possible. So material equanimity is, they try to actually make everything equal. So they say, especially in the modern world, that you have equality between men and women. So therefore, the social institutions we have today in the modern world, they try to make everything equal. Just like I was seeing outside the temple, there's a poster. I think it's probably torn down by now, but I have it. But it was saying that sub bus mein marshal hote hai. That there's some marshal. There's a marshal now in every bus to make sure that nobody mistreats a woman. Okay? So Delhi's a very big place, and probably most people take the bus at one point or another. Many people take the bus every day. Now they've made great fun to put policemen, that there's a policeman on every bus to make sure women are not mistreated. Okay. So that institution is there to make sure, or that arrangement is there to enforce or to make possible this kind of material equality or this material equanimity. Because men and women have to be regarded as equal. We have to make sure that that happens. Now the problem is that that's artificial. Why is that artificial? Because it goes against our nature. So these are the Nivrittam cha pravrittam cha was a jana vidurasuraha. That the demons, they do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. And so they make these rules because they're factually, they are against the supremacy of the Lord. So what is the true Dharma? So in this case, between men and women, Matra svasvara tuhitra na viviktasano bhavet indriya balavan gramo vidvamsams apikarshati. That one should not sit on the same seat with one's mother or sister or daughter, because the senses are so strong that even a man advanced in Vedic religion, in knowledge, he can become bewildered. So you have buses and you have what? You have men and you have women sitting together. And then what happens? According to the Shastras, they're going to be, the men especially, are going to become overwhelmed just by that association. And therefore, these things happen. So, the current institution, in this case, we have a class of people called scientists who study human nature through the scientific method. And by the way, what time does the class go to for these? Okay, so we're at the end here. So anyway, just to summarize, I just want to say that the yogis are attracted to the mystic cities. They're called ordinary yogis because their objective is not transcendence, but actually the acquisition of certain material facilities with which they can enjoy. The true objective of yoga is actually attachment to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. This is what we're obtaining. In this world, people have come to this world actually to forget Krishna, and the artificial equanimity, or that's imposed by the demons on us all, actually leads to greater misery and greater misfortune. It has the opposite result. And finally, in order to practice yoga, one also has to practice Dharma. One cannot practice yoga without practicing Dharma. So I'd like to stop here, and if there are any questions or comments, please, you have the floor. We have a question. Is this a question? What is it? Perfection of yoga is to attain samadhi, to realize super soul. Srila Prabhupada says in 10.2.19 that absorption in book distribution is samadhi. Mohan Rupa Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Okay, so that's our sandesh for the book distribution marathon. I remember when I used to distribute books in the Chicago airport. Sometimes we get gentlemen from Saudi Arabia or other Middle Eastern countries, and we would go up to them and say, Salam alaikum. But in our mind, we'd say it kind of like, I sell them, I like them. Assalamu alaikum. I sell them, I like them. I sell them because I like them. So, any other comments, questions? One other nice thing we used to do in book distribution, when we go to the book distribution, always read each other the books on book distribution. So while we're going there, because it's a short journey or sometimes, or it's not like a very long journey, we'd always get one of Prabhupada's small books, like Perfection of Yoga, On the Way to Krishna, and we would read that to each other while we're going. And this is a great way to read the small books, and it's a great way to keep up on, like, you know, when you're selling these books, then you've got that fresh in your mind that this is what the book's about. And it's great because it's remembering Prabhupada and Krishna's instructions. So that's a pro tip. Read the small books on the way to your Sankirtan destination. Prabhu, would you like to have the last word?
Hare Krishna. Dhanyavad. Hindi?
Hindi mein baat kare?
Hindi mein bole. हरे कृष्ण। तो यहाँ पर बताया गया है कि ऋषभदेव की जो स्थिति है इतनी ऊंची है कि योगी लोग जो है मन के द्वारा भी नहीं पहुंच सकते हैं। उस स्थिति में अपने कर्म के द्वारा तो बहुत दूर की बात है, मन के द्वारा भी उनकी समता नहीं कर सकते हैं। क्यों? क्योंकि उन्होंने जिन सिद्धियों को तिरस्कार कर दिया, छोड़ दिया, फेंक दिया, उन सिद्धियों की जो है वो आकांक्षा करते हैं। तो वे कैसे जो है ऋषभदेव की स्थिति पर पहुंच सकते हैं? तो यहाँ बताया कि जो सिद्धियां हैं वो ऋषभदेव की सेवा करने के लिए लालायित थीं, सेवा करना चाहती हैं, उन्होंने फिर भी उनको स्वीकार नहीं किया। ऋषभदेव तो प्रयत्न भी नहीं कर रहे हैं कि सिद्धियां प्राप्त हों, लेकिन योगी लोग तो प्रयत्न करते हैं कि उनको योग सिद्धियां प्राप्त हों, योग सिद्धियों के पीछे पड़े रहते हैं। तो कैसे ऋषभदेव की नकल कर सकते हैं? और ऋषभदेव ने उन सिद्धियों का त्याग कर दिया और अपनी स्थिति को कितना गर्हित कर दिया, कितना मतलब निम्न स्तर में रखा कि नग्न रहते हैं और स्नान नहीं करते हैं, बाल बिखरे हुए हैं, अपने को पागल और गूंगा ये सब दिखाते हैं कि लोग उनका सम्मान ना करें। जबकि लोग जो है सिद्धियां पाना चाहते हैं कि उनका सम्मान होगा और हमें भगवान माना जाए। तो जो योगी लोग हैं वो भगवान बनना चाहते हैं, तो सिद्धियां चाहते हैं कि हम भगवान, जनता के बीच में भगवान बन जाए। और जो साक्षात भगवान है उन सिद्धियों का त्याग कर रहे हैं और वो जो है जनता के बीच में अपने को बिल्कुल वैसा दिखा रहे हैं, पागल जैसा दिखा रहे हैं। तो ये ऋषभदेव का कितना यह त्याग है। संत ज्ञानेश्वर बहुत बड़े योगी थे। तो जब वो जा रहे थे किसी यात्रा में, तो उनके साथ में नामदेव भी थे जो कि विट्ठल के भक्त थे। तो रास्ते में जो है प्यास लगी, तो एक कुआं था और कुएं में पानी बहुत नीचे था। अब प्यास कैसे बुझे, बहुत नीचे पानी है। तो संत नामदेव जो है, नहीं ज्ञानेश्वर जो है वो अपनी योग सिद्धि के द्वारा पक्षी बन गए और पक्षी बन करके कुएं के अंदर गए और जो है अपनी प्यास बुझा ली, ऊपर आ गए। योग सिद्धि थी तो अपनी प्यास बुझा ली उन्होंने पक्षी बन करके कुएं के अंदर। नामदेव जो है भक्त थे, तो उन्होंने जो है विट्ठल का कीर्तन करना शुरू कर दिया। कुएं के पास बैठ करके विट्ठल का कीर्तन करना शुरू किया। तो विट्ठल का कीर्तन करने से क्या हुआ कि पानी जो है ऊपर उठा और ऊपर और ऊपर और पानी कुएं के बाहर भी बहने लगा। तो भक्त जो है, मतलब जो भक्ति के पास जो सिद्धियां हैं वो भगवान साक्षात है। जो योगेश्वर भगवान वो साक्षात है, तो भक्त ही सबसे बड़ा योगी है, क्योंकि उसके साथ जो है भगवान योगेश्वर उनके साथ में। तो कोई भी योगी जो है वो चीज़ें नहीं प्राप्त कर सकता है जो कि भक्तों को प्राप्त होती हैं। हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण।
ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।